Hello and welcome to another Mum and Dan video. In this video, I'm going to be stripping down I think it's a 12.5 horsepower IC Ride-on mower engine, and I'll show you a few things on the way. So let's get started. What we'll do, I'll see if I can set you up there. Sorry I haven't uploaded in a while. I've moved to Hamilton, so I've been trying to do that, but I figured now would be the perfect time to do an upload, so here we are. Right, okay, let's see if I can. So the first step I think I'm going to do might be draining the oil out. Yeah, okay, let's drain the oil. Unless, because I can't really want to tip it up, do I? Okay, I'll see if I've got a container. Hang on. A container, I'll just drain it to there. That'll work, that'll work. Drain into that, that'll work. Alright, I'll do it. See if I can do this. On there. Alright, let's see if I can drain that into that. That's cold oil. Shouldn't have much in it because it was low. Heavy engine was low for a start, I think. Heavy engine, sorry. What I'll do. Bear with me here, what I'll do, it's just, why is it suddenly leaking hot oil out? That's black as soot. Yeah, it smells like old four-stroke oil. Okay. Well, I'll grab one of those mats, bear with me, I'll grab those all mats from here, if I can. What is this? I can use that. We'll have a rat rag there, okay? So there we go. Right, that one there. Okay. One thing we're going to do first is let's whip off. So I'll show you guys what I've done so far. So I've drained the oil. So I'll give you a bit of a rundown of these engines. These IC 12.5 horsepower, or the IC series in general. This series was a side valve. So there's your valve cover there. It's not IHV. I've taken the head off. Now what IC stands for, if you're wondering, IC stands for Industrial Commercial. And what that means is this engine series is a cast iron cylinder liner. Obviously for extra wear protection and stuff like that. So what I'm going to do, hopefully, is set you guys up there. That's better. And then what I'll do is I'll undo the coil. We'll start stripping it down, and I'll show you some things on the way as we go through. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to remove the ignition coil. These are just two 8mm bolts, 5/16 if you want to use. Looks like it's a quantum coil. Very similar to a quantum coil. I'm not sure if the spacing will be the same, and the angle on the coil is the same as a Briggs & Stratton quantum coil, but looks pretty close. Okay, so there's your coil off. You just got to unplug this little wire here. If you can see that, hopefully. So let's unplug that. And there's your coil off. So that gets rid of your coil. Next, I think what I'm going to do, let's remove the stator off of here. That's a 1/4 inch. Okay. Let me find a 1/4 inch socket. Alright, bear with me, guys. Jump on a 1/4 inch socket. Quarter. We're going to need the quarter later anyway before we undo the. Not sure what size. We're going to need the 1/4 inch for that one there. Maybe some other bolts might be 1/4 inch. I'm not entirely sure on these engines. But yeah, so what I'm removing here is basically what charges your battery as the engine's running. So as the engine runs, magnets on the flywheel, on the inside of the flywheel this time, spin and make contact with the windings, the primary and secondary windings on your stator, which basically then produces power and sends the power back to the battery. Basically an alternator in a car. This is kind of similar, the equivalent to an alternator in a car, really, this. God, these bolts are pretty stiff. These bolts are stiff, anyway. Mind you, it isn't turning out in the weather. Under a tarp. It was under a tarp, but yeah. Anyway. So we'll get this off. because the wires on this, the reason I'm stripping this down is mainly to show you guys, but also I want to have a look at what the engine condition is like. Whether it's got any wear in the engine. I mean, you'd assume having the cast iron bore, the cast iron cylinder liner, it would not be as worn, because obviously it's going to protect a lot better having that than not. So I'm going to be very intrigued when I open this up and see what's inside. But let's just yank that out if I can. Just yank that one there out if I can. There we go. Pulled the broke the cable, but that's okay, because you can actually rewire these. So there's your starter. There's your starter. So you got your windings all around here. All right, you can't see that. Windings there. All right. There is on this engine, I've noticed already, quite a bit of oil around the top end. So I would say most likely the culprit is the top oil seal. The thing with those top oil seals, they usually go bad because obviously on top of the engine, so they're not going to be lubricated as much by the splash oil lubrication that this engine has. The ride-on engines with the oil pump system and oil filter, I would say work better or have better lubrication, because they obviously pressurize the oil and then send it up to the top as well. More spread around the whole engine rather than, I think they might have galleries in them actually, those engines. Yeah, so the oil pump basically pressurizes the oil and pumps it around. So I'm just going to take this cowling off at the moment. Jeez, those bolts are stiff. Blinking heck. Probably the first time they come out in a while, so I'm not surprised. There we go. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to strip this down and I'm going to show you a few things on the way. What I look for when I'm stripping an engine. So if you guys are stripping an engine at home or just want some knowledge, then, you know. Yeah, I'll try and show a few things. Okay. Another interesting fact about these engines, I'll show you in a second, bear with me. Once I get this off, there we go. Right, I'll show you quickly now. So what I find with these engines and the OHV series engines is when they have lack of oil and they blow a rod, usually, if they blow the rod, they will put it through the side right here, beside the starter. That's the most common failing point on these. I don't know why they fail. Obviously it's lack of oil, but yeah, I'm not entirely sure why they fail so prematurely. But yeah, that's something we can look into further on the channel. Right. Can I undo the torque socket thing? Should do. I'll start the starter motor off. Will do, I think. So that might be probably not that one, but we'll try it. What's that one? T40. Give T40 a go. Oh, it might be the T40 actually. Where's my 3/8 ratchet? That's the 12-inch one. Oh, 3/8 over here. Alright, there's my 3/8. There's my 3/8 ratchet. What we'll do is I will undo the starter. Hopefully, if I can. If I can get the starter, should be able to. Oh, sorry, you guys fell. Hold on. Sorry, hold on. Let me just put it there. 60 degrees over there. There. That's better. Sort of. That's better. Alright, so what I'm doing here is I'm removing the starter. These bolts can be very tight. This one is no exception. Yeah, but once you get the starter off, you can strip the starter down if it's obviously buggered, or if there's issues with the windings or the Bendix gear. Or this one I believe is fine. It's cranking the engine up fine, so we should be sweet with this one. Where did that bolt go? There's a bolt down there somewhere. Oh, where did it go? There. Found it. Alright, so here's your starter. This is, I'm not sure how many teeth this one has, but that starter looks pretty darn good, you know. Bit rusty, but apart from that, the starter looks pretty good. So I'll show you what I've done so far. as you know, we're taking off the flywheel. I already had the flywheel off, this one. So taking the coil off, drain the oil, coil off, windings out. That's a couple of dirt dog nests in there, or whatever they are. Maybe little insect nests. So behind that shroud, those shrouds tend to catch leaves, or you get oil build up on there, and that will cause the engine to overheat over time as well. So yeah, occasionally I do like to clean those things out, but depends how far you want to go, really. Okay, what I'm going to do next, kill YFE coil. I was going to route that over there for a second. Bear with me. Right, what I'm going to do now, I think, I'll spin the engine around. I'm going to take off the throttle control piece, is what I'm going to do. Which should be a couple of 10mm bolts, or maybe 5/16. More likely 5/16. So it's 5/16 there. Yeah, 5/16. They're loose. Why is that so loose? Now obviously, as you can see on this engine, there is a bit of corrosion or oxidation on the outside of the block, which is completely normal, especially if it's been sitting outside or in the weather or stuff like that. Obviously, if it's excessive, what you can do is you can get the block sandblasted or soda blasted or whatever. This one, obviously I'm not going to bother with that, but if I was rebuilding the engine, I most likely would. So let's take out that one there. Come out. I think it's the grease. I think it's the oil. And the dirty threads as well, that might help. Because that is pretty tight in there. You can't do it by hand, you've got to wind it out the whole way. Just move that governor forward, and let's undo this. The kill wire is also linked to this top bolt. The kill wire is linked to this top bolt here. And that should get rid of our throttle control. I already whipped the carb off. This was running engine. It wasn't running exactly well, entirely, but it was running well enough. Pull that governor off. The governor linkage, sorry. Choke linkage. Then what we'll do is I'll ping that one out of there. This little spring needs to pop out of there as well. Hopefully it should pop out of there. There we go. Let's pop out of this spring here. Also needs to pop out of there. By the look of it, no. Let's pop out of there. Come on. Sorry, I'm fighting with it. I'm fighting with it here. Bloody hell. Get off there. Get off there. Get off there. This spring does not want to come off. What I'll do is I'll get a screwdriver in here and lever it. Carefully. I'll carefully just ping that note on. I've got a pair of pliers. A pair of pliers would be handy. I think I do. On me. What I'll do is I'll just... Can I ping it off that end? That end be easier. That end might be easier actually. I wonder if that end there would be... Yeah, there we go. Okay, let's got the control module off. There's your control module. That's your governor. It's got an internal governor. Looks like that governor shaft is actually leaking, which is intriguing. But yeah, obviously that's no biggie. Because I'm just going to grab my 10mm, bear with me. 10mm, what do I do? Okay. Hold on guys, bear with me here. I'm trying to hold my 10mm. There's 11. That one I'll need. And not that one. We'll need, is that a 10? I think it's 10, is it? That's 9. Okay, well, what I'll do, what do I do with the ice cream container? I don't know oil into it, no. That's all cool. Hold on. Sorry guys. Yeah. There's 10mm. Sweet. I'll undo that governor, pop the governor out. Basically, I find what I tend to do is I tend to whip off everything around the outside first. So I tend to whip off the likes of the carburetor, your top cover, the classic one. Just anything that, you know, is on the outside of the engine basically. just going to pull that right out. It's quite stiff. You can also, with these, you can get a screwdriver on them and just carefully prise them. But if you do take these governors off, you obviously have to set them again, so the engine doesn't do actually stuff like go too fast, or because the governor basically sets the engine speed. That's basically the purpose of the governor. So I'm just getting a screwdriver behind there and just carefully wiggling that off, and there it is. There's your governor shaft gone. And then these ones actually are quite well designed because, if you can see that, but there is a little R-clip stopping it from pushing back into the engine, which that is a good idea by Briggs and Stratton there. If you can see that, put that down there like that, that might be better. Sorry, I'm filming on the phone, so it's not ideal camera angles, but it does work. Right, what I will do now is I'll pull the washer off. I'm here, actually pull the washer off. Let's see if I can get in there with, I'll ping that little R-clip out. So I can, actually no, I won't ping the R-clip out yet actually, I'll leave that there. So I'll strip the block, the sump off. We'll go from there, I think. So next, I might just leave the exhaust on actually, because the exhaust is going to be the most painful part I feel. Because we do have a socket rusted on there, which is kind of intriguing. I'm just going to try this. So shits and gigs, I'm going to try this. Yep, that's this off. Okay. So this can come off. We might be in luck here. We may well be in luck here. So I can get it off, which I can. It's a big bolt. It's a big bolt. I don't know what size they are. Might be 13 or 11. I'd say 11 actually on that one. That's actually 11 mil. Let's see, that'll be 12 actually, you know. What's that? That's a 13. 13, okay. 13 mils. Let's see if I can take that side off as well. That side loose. I don't know why this engine was retired off the rotor. I think the deck rusted out. I know the deck rusted out. I'm not, other than that, I honestly have no clue why they retired this machine. So apart from the deck rusting out, I think it was probably a alright machine. So the muffler has got a gasket on there. It's good to see. Occasionally I don't have those on there for some weird reason. But anyway, what I'll do is I'll plonk that part over there. Okay, next I think I'm going to take out the intake assembly, which might be 10 mil actually. Let's just grab a torch and have a look at that. Torx or 10 I would say. Let's put a little bit on there, you know. Just some metal shavings all rust in the exhaust port. That's not ideal. What else is in there in that port there? A lot of corrosion in that intake port too. I'll see if I can show you. Hold on. Let me show you guys. So if you look down in the intake port there, you can see if I hold it right there. There's quite a lot of rust and corrosion in there. So I'm wondering if I had a bit of water in there at some stage. That's what I'm wondering. I could be wrong, but I'm just wondering, you know. What we'll do, I think it'll sit there. I think it'll sit over there. Right, okay, let's take off the... what are we going to take off here? Could have the sump off, I suppose, couldn't we? Go straight to the sump is what we could do. Yeah, let's go straight to the sump. So we'll tip it upside down. Hopefully there's no oil in there. Left in there, should I say. Set that up on his head. Okay, so that's good to see. Someone has put lots of copper anti-seize on the... That's why the pulley came off easy when I was taking it off earlier. Is literally because some genius had put copper anti-seize on there. Which is good, because it stops it rusting. Stops it rusting onto the shaft, basically, because those pulleys, they can be an absolute nightmare. What I'm going to do, I think that's a 13 mil, actually, or is it 9/16? No, 13. Okay, what did I do with that 13 mil socket? God, I'm losing things. Oh, there we go. Although, see if we can get that. Loosen off with this so we don't see any bolts. I think I'll do. Loosen all this off. Shouldn't be that tight. That one's not tight. Sweet. That one's loose. And there's loose. What's the next one? On there. Yeah, there. Gee, these bolts are loose. I wonder if this engine's been stripped down before, honestly. Those are freaking loose. I don't like it. As such, don't like it at all. I really don't like that. I think this engine may have the balancer in it. I honestly can't remember off the top of my head. So when we get in here, we will find all that out. Yeah, that was a bit tighter. Intriguing. There we go. Loosen that one. I did. Now we should be able to do. Spin those out with impact. Now that they're broken loose, they shouldn't snap or anything stupid. Yeah. I'll spin. I usually take these out in a circular pattern. But yeah. You usually try to take them out in a circular pattern. Obviously when you torque them up, you obviously want, it's a bit of rust on these bolts actually, that's not good. Okay, what I usually do, as I said, I usually torque them up in there's a specific pattern you're supposed to torque these up in, right? I think usually Briggs & Stratton will state that specific torque order. It's about longer. No. Sorry, what I was saying is Briggs & Stratton will state that specific torque pattern. Somewhere in a manual, most likely. And then, yeah. Most likely what it'll be is it'll be crisscross. So, yeah, opposites basically. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to tip that over, I think. Yeah, I'm going to tip that over. I'm going to give it a tap. Tip that over and we'll give it a tap. Hopefully that something comes off pretty easy. But we will find out in a second. The sump underneath doesn't look bad, apart from all the copper anti-seize, which is intriguing, but it appears to be fine. I think it'll be fine. Alright, let's see if we can get that off. Let's get the sticker off. I wonder if I get I've got a proper mallet out here. I've had a mallet. I might have a hammer. Now I shouldn't smack this with a metal hammer. So I might look for. I might look for a rubber mallet. I could just use. Occasionally, you can use. If you don't have a rubber mallet, you can use anything soft. Hell, even the handle of a screwdriver might work. What I'm going to do here is I'm just going to tap. A little bit of tap to loosen her up. What I'm going to do actually is I'm going to get this ratchet and I'm going to go. Yep, it's released it. Sweet. So I'm just going to tap that up like that. Hopefully there's not much oil leaking out of it. Can't see much oil leaking out of it, so that's sweet. Okay. Now, you can also tidy up these mains with oil fillers, but this one's going to slide off really easy, which is good. So there is the inside of your engine. I will show you guys in a second, but I'm just going to, yeah. Okay, so straight off the bat, I'm going to show you guys something. So as soon as I pull off a sump off an engine, usually what I look for is what's in the bottom of the sump. This one, as you can see, fairly clean until you get over to that corner, and it's just a sludgy metallic mess. So this engine does have some wear on it. Whether it's from the camshaft, the big end bearings, could be from anything really. So I'll show you what is in here. So it does have a counterweight, as we were talking about earlier. Counterweight there, oil slinger, camshaft. Then you got your big gear, which is actually removable on this one. That's intriguing. It's actually removable. It's handy, so you can replace that. And it's a metal one, which is good because nowadays the Briggs and Stratton engines actually have plastic ones of those. So that's good to see. What I'll do is whip this apart. I'll whip this apart quickly. So I'll pull that gear off there. How's that? Is it keyed? Yeah, it's keyed. Okay. Set that over there. So we can now ping that big camshaft out of there. So the camshaft, now what you look for on a camshaft usually, I'm just going to show you guys quickly. I'll set the camshaft there. So what you look for is here's the lobes here. Okay? So you've also got your gear and you've got your lobes. Now what I look for on the lobes is any wear. And on these lobes, they actually look pretty darn good, I would say. This one hasn't got a compression release, from what I can see, but it may have it built into those lobes as well. So there may be a little divot in the lobe. The new OHV ones actually have a lever that flings out on the camshaft. And it's a common failing point too on those OHV engines. Valve lifters, or valve tappets, what are you going to call them. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to ping that out of there. There's the other valve tappet. Okay, so having a look in here. Obviously you got your connecting rod and big end here. Big crank. There is a bit of dirt in the engine, but on the outside, I mean, sorry. Yes, that counterweight looks pretty good. Crankshaft looks pretty good. Other thing I look for is wear on here. Obviously, it can wear. It will wear. As if you run it low on oil or... yeah. So what I think I'm going to do, I'm trying to figure out what size those big end bolts are. Maybe 11mm, actually. So I'll bring the camera with me. So there's an 11. I think it's 11. Yeah, 11mm. Let's see, is it 11mm? 12. Okay. Where's my 12? Where's my 12 spanner? That's what I need. What the heck that is? Where's my spanner drawer? Hopefully it's in my spanner drawer here, but we'll soon find out, won't we? It doesn't look like it is. Nope. Not in there. Gee, missing a lot of spanners. How odd. Anyway, I'll have a look. In that case, then I'll have a look over here. Sorry, 12mm spanners disappeared on me, of all things. Let's pull that there real quick. Let's put it out there. I can't see it there. That's not 12. That's 11. I thought so. I was just checking. Put it there. Stupid. Not there. Okay. Do I have a 12 socket? I have a 12 socket on here. Do I have a 12 socket out? That one there. No, 12. Sorry guys, bear with me. Trying to find a socket. That ain't a 12. Where did I put my 12 socket? Where did I put my 12mm? That one? Alright. What about... What did I do with my 12mm socket? What's that one? 13. Don't even have a 12mm socket. 15. I'll check my sockets while I'm here. Check my sockets. 14. 12, 11. That's an 11. Might need that later. See? 12. Where's my 12? There it is. 12. Oh, that's half. That's half. It's half. Alright. Fin half. Can't find 12. Where is my 12? This is my 12. This is... Don't annoy me. We will find it though. It's here somewhere. I think for a fact. How perplexing. Okay. Well, in that case, let's see if I can find my spanner, which is, I think it's that one there actually. 12, there it is. 12 more spanner. Get 12 more spanner on there. And it's not. Of course it is. 13. We'll try. Bear with me, guys. Sorry. I'm just going to take this off. You guys, actually, I'll set you guys up there. Set you guys back up there. Take the 13 off that. Put that onto my half-inch ratchet. And let's see if I can get in there. I want to spin the engine over to get that next one out, actually. That's never ideal. I'm going to spin that over. Can I spin that engine over? Yes, I can. How about that? Because it's nice and free. Which is good. Right, there we go. So we can do that. That's better. Okay. I've got my hand. Give my hand a wash. Right, whatever. Get that in there. Spin that around to there. Let's see if we might. It should make a full revolution, this engine, I think. But we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, okay. Where's that? So let's spin that around to there now. Let's see if I can get 13. Okay. No, I can't get this on there. Okay, so let's see if I can now get. It's gonna annoy the heck out of me now. Actually, can I use that rag? Just grab that. That's better. Yeah, that's better. That's better. It's a whole lot better than action. It's a whole lot better. Right, let's see if I can do that. Actually, what I'll do, I think what I'll do is I'll spin it to there. We'll try there. 13. Sorry, I'm just trying to, these can be painful to get to, these bolts, but there we go, we got it. Does that counterweight unbolt? Does that count unbolt? Hey, that's intriguing. I don't think the counterweight on this one unbolts. Usually they start off, but this one looks like it actually unbolts. Just intriguing. So I'll unbolt that later. But what I'm going to do for a start is I'm going to get rid of. So let's loosen that one. Right, get to that one there. So I should be able to get to, spinning that round, like that, hopefully. Yeah, there we go. Whether that will work. Yep. Nice, got it. I think we got it. Let's see what we get. Yep, got it. Cool. So what I'm doing now is I'm removing the piston with the Kink rod attached, hopefully. These bolts are stiff. Don't know why these bolts are so stiff. Maybe it's just me. I'll use that rag and I'll chuck the rag in. Use the rag for grip. Hey, that's intriguing. It's got a half moon key. It does. It's got a half moon key for the gear on the camshaft. That's quite intriguing. So I'm just going to whip out. Threads do not feel good on that cam, or on the crown, on the big end. Sorry. So what I'm doing here is I'm removing the. What's it earlier? Removing the big end. I'm going to check these big end bolts. They may have thread locker on them because what I'm feeling is a whole lot of resistance. But no, there is no thread locker. So that is intriguing. There's no thread locker. How intriguing. How jolly intriguing. And why is that seized up? There we go. Right, spin that around some more to about there. And then I wonder, actually, that could have been why it was a bit stiff, because it had pressure from where the crank was sitting. And it was putting pressure on the bolt as the big end moved or whatever. That could well have been it, actually. That could well have been it. What if it was? Anyway, we'll get this out. Stars will get this out. If we can. It's about finger placement in this one. Because it's a very tight workspace when you're working on getting pistons out. These engines are a lot better. The small pushmower engines, those are so annoying to get keeping the bolts out of. Those things are an absolute dog, you know. I'm going to actually turn that way a bit. Just because of the space that you've got to work with, you know. Yeah, just because of the space you've got to work with. There's absolute bugger all space in those engines. But that should come out in a second. There we go. Okay. that's got that out. So let's see then if I can rotate that one. Unscrew that one out there. Unscrew that out. Well, the oil that's actually coming out of the engine now, interestingly, is actually looking pretty clean. Which I think is blinking intriguing if you ask me. What I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate that sucker around there. Let's rotate that around there. Oh, stiff. There we go. Okay. Right, let's ping that. Now, when I ping these off, obviously what I'm looking for on the big end, you can see that, hopefully. Give it a white. There's obvious scoring. Now, this one looks a little bit of scoring, a little bit of metallic transfer, but on the whole, I'd say it's pretty bloody good. So let's put that with the 2 bolts somewhere safe, because that could be used on a future project if we even need it. What am I going to do now? Now though, I'm going to push that piston out. If I can. I might need a hammer actually for that. If I can. I don't want to hammer that out though, do I? I wonder if I can take that crank out first. That might work, might not. That could work. Actually, could possibly work. Okay. Let's see. Let's see. I need that rag again. I need. Where's that rag there? What oil? What oil? It's better. I haven't spilled much oil, which is good. Okay. I think they're some bolts, which is an intriguing design for Briggs & Stratton, because the new ones I think just actually press on there. It's got the same bearing-ish design, bearingless, whatever you call them, you know. Not bearing, but bearing surface as such, I suppose. Crankcase is pretty clean, which is good. Okay, so let's see if we can get that crank out and the piston. Obviously, we've got to get the piston out as well. There we go. That's better. That's better. That's sounding better. That's feeling better. Let's see if I can push. Push that sucker there. There we go. Got it. Okay, there's your piston. Over there. Now that piston, honestly, looks pretty clean. Yeah, the piston looks pretty clean. Okay, guys, so we're back. Hold on, so I've whipped the crankshaft out. Sorry, I had a bit of an oil spillage, so all the dirt's everywhere. So I've whipped the crank out. There's the crank. Spins nice and freely on the bearings. Obviously, there's just a bit of oil in between there, I'm assuming. Most likely. That's how that works. The interesting thing about this design, it was actually pinned by that onto that little pin there. Which I don't think the OHV ones have that. I think they just literally just a counterweight that sits and jiggles around the engine. So that's interesting. Really interesting, actually. That's better. Get rid of that dirt. There. There we go. Right. Okay. That's better. Alrighty, so what we'll do, it's got a drain bone there. No? Why is there a... What's that? What is that? That's weird. Hang on. No, didn't think so. That's weird. Oh. I'll do it. I'll set you guys around there. I'm going to do here. Now I'll show you the piston quickly. So the piston is here with a connector on it. There's your piston. This piston, there's the skirts on this one. This part here, piston. A little bit scored up on that side. That's where the thrust face. That's why. That's a little bit scored, obviously from running low on oil. But other than that, the connecting rod end, or the big end, is honestly not looking too bad. Obviously, a bit of carbon on top of the piston head, but apart from that, we can check all the ring gaps if we want to. I probably won't do it in this video. It'll probably be a separate video. But we could do that in a future video if we want to. Hang on, sorry, I'm just trying to sort the camera out. There we go, that's better. Right, what we might do, I wonder if we do the valve grind. Just for shits and gigs, you know. Just to show you guys what valve grinding engine is. All lapping in the valves or whatever. So the crankcase is pretty clean. It's a wee bit of grit in there. It's obviously a wee bit of grit in there, but nothing horrible, honestly. Nothing horrible. Okay. So I'll just show you quickly the valves. Bear with me here. Show you guys the valves. The valves operate, you've got an intake and exhaust valve. And you just that's intake is top, exhaust is bottom. This one. So to lap in the valves, what I will do is I'll show you guys quickly what we do. Bear with me here. Set the phone back up there. Hopefully it sits there, should sit there. Right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to tilt the engine over like this. Tilt it over like that. It's intriguing, it's actually cut out in there where the camshaft sits. That's intriguing. Anyway, I'll do with my 1/4 inch. There. So on that one. Yep. Just take this. All you got to do on these is take the valve cover off. OHV engines are slightly easier. Do the valves on. These ones, yeah, they're not as easy. But if you get the special tool, which I have, and I'll grab in a second, it's about $100, I think. $100, 160 for the tool or whatever. It's a genuine Briggs & Stratton tool, by the way. So the valve compressor is what the tool is. And what it's for is basically compressing up the valves. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to undo the valve cover. These two bolts here. There we go, okay. Now these gaskets on these leak all the time too. This one doesn't actually look too horrible. It's not looking great, but it's just peeling apart. Okay. That's pretty horrible. There's the valve breather. Is that even double gasketed? I think it's been double gasketed. Yeah, it has. Intriguing. It's been double gasket. That's a classic trick, that one. So there's a gasket on both sides. That's intriguing. It's a classic trick if it's leaking. Double gasket the bugger. Okay. What I'll do. Don't worry, I was just thinking that spring's off, but it's not. No, we're good. Cool. Okay, what I'll do, quickly, is I'll show you how to whip these out. I'm not sure on these ones how they come out. They might have the retainers in them. I'll show you guys the tool first, actually, although. If I can find it. It should be up here. There it is. There's somewhere. There's that one. So there's the Briggs & Stratton tool there. You probably can't see, but there is the genuine Briggs & Stratton valve tool. Hopefully you guys can see what I'm doing. It's pretty hard, but hopefully you can see what I'm doing. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to wind that out a bit. Stick that on the bottom part of the spring, which is there. And I'm going to compress it up. These can be quite fiddly to do. Actually, these ones. This one's no exception, apparently. That's okay. Looks like we've got it. So I might have got it, actually. Sorry, just trying to push the valve out. So I'll hold the tool. What have I got I can do? Hold on, bear with me. I've got a, can't push that out, can I? No, I can't push that like that. Can I? Oh, I can, okay. That works. There's that. So that's going to come out like that. There's your valve spring. Right. So I'll show you the valve quickly. There's your valve. And what you want to do is check this valve seat. Around here. So what you want to look for on a valve is basically a bit of carbon stuck on there. Well, it's actually, these ones are actually marked in and EX for exhaust, I'm guessing. Some of the Briggs & Strattons were actually marked intake and exhaust, so you couldn't get them mixed up. Alright. what I'm going to do, I'll take out the bottom one, i.e. the exhaust valve. Take the spring out of the tool for a start, might be helpful. I'll take that out of there. Loosen it off so it doesn't go ping everywhere. Yeah, that's better. So there's your valve spring retainer. I'll show you that in a second. I'll show you guys that in a second. I'm just going to take out this bottom one. Right, it's going to be fiddly, I feel, but we'll get there. Hopefully. Hopefully we will get there. We will find out. I can do that. I can do that. It's not quite done, is it? I think it's quite done. No, I think it's done. Okay, I'm gonna need a. Right, what I'll do actually is I'll crimp a little bit in more. I think that's what we'll do. What I'll do, I think, is I'll go in like that. We'll go in like this. We'll crimp about there. About there. We'll try that. Give that a go. See if that gets it. That's looking better. We're looking a whole lot better like that. It's actually stuck. Well, look at that one now. Yeah, stuck. How intriguing. Okay. So that one's stuck. Oh. It's got the retainers. It's alright. Bear with me. That's my bad. I assumed that because the other one didn't have the retainers, this one would also not have retainers, but it does. So that's a different style altogether. So that's intriguing. So the exhaust style's got retainers on it. That's intriguing. But this should be marked EX, possibly marked EX anyway. Yes, XST on top there. I don't know if you can see that. But it says XST on top there, whether you can see that. That's the exhaust valve. So this one needs grinding. It's not great. It's not bad, but it's not great. It just needs a bit of lapping in to work properly. So, what I will do, let me tip the engine back up like that actually. Tip that back up like that for a second. If I can. Tip it back up like that. Tip that back up like that. What I'm going to do, so I'll show you guys quickly what I've done. So this one, you've obviously, as you can see, you've got a smaller hole, a bigger hole and a smaller hole. So you push it into the bigger hole and push it past the point on locking thing. There's the little notch. Push it past that. Or actually, I'll show you. I'll show you. It might be easier. So what you do, get the big hole. Sorry, it's hard to film and do it at the same time. There. Sit it down and on there like that. That's done. And take it off, compress the spring, and just ping it over put it onto the big hole side and ping it off. Pretty self-explanatory really, that, isn't it? Okay, I'll put that back on there so it's safe. Now what I want to do now, I think, is I want to, so up here you've got your valve gillies, or your valve ports, what do you want to call them? I'll do that. I'll step back so it doesn't leak oil everywhere. But as you can see, the bottom one is a whole lot more carboned up. That's your intake one. There's your valve stem seal. I think it's got a valve stem seal in it. Or has it got bushings? I might have bushings on it actually. Okay. Right, what you're going to need to do some valve grinding is a couple of things. We will need this valve tool. It's going to be valve lapper, which is that, and you're obviously going to need your valve lapping compound. Excuse the bad filming. Just grabbing my valve lapping compound. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to stick that in there like that. And then I'm going to do this. Now the valve lapping compound will come in either, you'll probably get both in your kit if you get a kit, but that's fine grade. So you get fine grade for doing fine jobs. This one's a bit worn, but that would be coarse grade. What you're supposed to do is you're supposed to work down from your coarse grade to your fine grade. But the ones I usually do aren't that bad. So usually all I do is I get the fine grade like this. I'll show you guys in a minute. Bear with me. Then what I do, let's rub that on there. Where's the valve? What is it? We'll do the worst valve. So the worst valve is this one. I'll show you what you're looking for. You'll see around here. Should be a nice silver ring around there. A defined silver ring, which on here there is in places. In places there is, but it's not consistent all the way around. So you want it consistent all the way around to make a good seal on the valve seat. Has this one got replaceable valve seats? I think it does. I'm not sure. Another common selling point in these Briggs engines is that exact thing. The valve seats will actually pop out. A classic trick you can do is just get a punch, a little centre punch, and just centre punch it in there. Lock it in there. Just be careful with your centre punch. Right, where was I? What I'm going to do, grab my valve, there. Where did I do my lapping compound? There, my bad, right in front of me. Okay, so what you want to do, I'll show you what you want to do. Grab it on my finger, hold on. Grab it on my finger and I'll film it. What you want to do, see on the outside there? And you don't want to get any on that stem there, up on the stem here, okay? Because if you get that, you'll get sideways play in your valve. And that's not what you want. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to rub a little bit of lapping compound around the outer edge or the outer seat of the valve. Actually, tell you what, let me put that there. Put that there. And let me sit that. I'll sit that there actually. Let me sit that on there. Let me just film nice. Hopefully you guys can see that. I'm not sure if you can, but hopefully you can see that. So what I'm doing is I'm just carefully going around the outside, trying not to get any on that stem. If you can avoid it. If you do, give it a degreaser. I don't know, brake cleaner, whatever. Clean it off. Just got to make sure it is very clean, because if you do get any grit or anything onto that stem, the valves will wear out prematurely. Obviously, as they're going in and out of the passages or respective holes, they will wear out. Right, another thing you want to look at, actually, I've just remembered, is the valve face. So it's the face of your valve there. If that's all bumpy, the suction tool may not suck onto it very well. I'm just going to remember which one this is. This is the intake or the exhaust? Sorry. It's me. It's a bigger one, so I think it's that one. Yep. Sweet. Okay, put that in there. Now what you do is you grab your tool. Hopefully you guys can see this. Suction that, which this one is not wanting to suck on there for some reason. Is it? No, it's not wanting to suck on this. What I'll do is I'll grab a wire brush. Let's grab my wire brush here. Let's just give that a bit of a wire brush up. Shall we? Give that a wire brush. That's looking better already, actually. It's looking way better already. It's looking way better. That's better. I don't know how the valve tool's gone, but I did have a really good valve tool somewhere. It's better. Oh yeah. What I'm going to do is simply just I lift up every now and then. Hopefully you guys can see that. What I'm doing is I'm basically just lifting up, going back down, lifting up, going back down, and you'll hear it. You'll hear the pitch change as it goes quiet, which is there. And so what I like to do is I like to pull it back out and actually rub more of the compound, get my finger, rub more of the valve lapping compound. Just give it a rub around a bit more, you know? Just to get it, will obviously naturally want to disappear. So I'll give it grinding again. You can see, lift up, back at it, there we go. Right, okay. I'm going to have a look at that. So what I'll do is I'll push that valve back up out of there. Let's have a look at that. So basically what you want to do for that, I'll show you this. Okay, let me move that sump out of there. Move that little sump over there. Okay. Where are those? Come here, cloth. That's better. I'm going to wipe that off with a cloth. Like that. And I'm just going to wipe. You guys can't see, but I'm just wiping all of that valve lapping compound off from around the valve seat or around where it seats on the valve. You want to make sure it's nice and clean. I should chop that valve lapping compound too, because it will dry out if you leave it open, and you don't want that at all. So I'm just going to have a quick look before I show you. But what I can see on this one is it needs a bit more, because the seal is not consistent all the way around. But as you can see, hopefully you can see, that there looks a whole lot better. Focus camera. That looks a whole lot better. As you can hopefully see, there's a seal part way around. For educational purposes, I think we're going to stop there. But yeah, basically what you want is a good silver seal, or a good silver ring, right around the outside. Let me just show you, it's easier up here. If I grab that rag again and wipe off in here. Stick that in there and wipe off in there, like that. Wipe off in there like that. Yeah, that's going to be easier to show you. Okay, so as you can see, you want that nice silver ring where you can see there. Basically you want that all the way around. Which, as you can see, there's a little bit of padding still here in front of my finger. Compared to what it started out as, where there's rust and dirt and pitting all over it. Yeah, so that's pretty much valve lapping. As I said, main thing, make sure you don't get any on the stem. If you do, there you go, either brake cleaner, whatever. Okay. I think to wrap up the video, I might show you guys, and have a look at the bore. So there's your cast iron bore there. I'll shine the light on it. So there is a little bit of filings in there, but that may just be from me lapping in the valves as well. But honestly, I would say that bore looks pretty good. Some slight scoring around there, but on the whole, I would say it looks pretty good. From my point of view anyway, it looks pretty good. Which is good. Right. I'm trying to think what else I can show you. Could take the crank apart. We could do, couldn't we? Take the old crank apart. That's what we could do. Here's the half moon key. So let's even push that. No. Oh, good. Okay. So it's got a half moon key where the ring gear goes on there. And then the counterweight's there. What I also like to check actually while I'm here, just remembered, is the main bearing on the crank. So I'm just going to wipe that off. And what will happen usually is because the camshaft, not the camshaft, the connecting rod, wherever that's gone, is made of a softer metal, being aluminum, will usually transfer material onto the bearing surface here. But this one, honestly, looks pretty darn clean. Obviously the crankshaft being cast iron or steel, obviously it's a lot harder of a metal, so it's not going to wear quite as much as or it's not going to be the first thing to wear, unlike the connecting rod, which is sort of misplaced, but it's okay. It's down here, down to it again. Okay, there's 3 piston rings. Go through that. There's 3 piston rings. Got your top 2 compression rings, which are here and here. Oh, there. And the bottom one is called an OCR, or oil control ring. So basically that controls the oil. It stops the oil from getting past the rings. It's basically your main oil stopper. Ring that one. And to check them, basically what I do, I pull them off there carefully with a set of tools or whatever. You can do it by hand, but then I sit them on the bore, get your feeler gauge, look up your specs, measure it. Measure the gap between the end gap, piston ring end gap, which I'll show you where the end gap is. So basically, see that little notch there? As you put that in the bore, make sure I use the piston. So I do, I push the piston down like that to make sure it's nice and flush, and flat, and straight. And then you measure the end gap. And that is basically how you strip down the engine. And a bit of grinding valves as well. I don't think I've got anything else I can show you. At the moment, no. Okay, what we'll do, end the video here. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Stay tuned, subscribe. Sorry for not uploading in a while. Yeah, I'll try and do more uploads now that I'm got a few more projects on. Next projects are probably that chainsaw there and the big backpack blower. which needs a whole engine rebuild, but yeah, we're getting there slowly. Yeah. So yeah, hope you enjoyed the video again. Like and subscribe, comment, whatever. And I'll see you guys in the next video.